It's YouTube Wednesday! This is an advisory. I don't recommend doing this for something as big as a mask. If you really care about the project that you're working on, then please buy good silicone. I recommend Gel 25 from Bitty Mold Supply. It's an excellent silicone. Smooth On also makes good silicones. There's several good silicone companies out there, and they make great types for making molds. This is a ghetto way to do it if you don't care about how the project turns out per se. Because there's going to be some persnicketiness, there's going to be some guesstimation that you have to do. This is not an ideal technique. It is far better to spend the money on good silicone rather than do it this way. You can do it this way if you're in a pinch. Or if it's just a little project and you don't care if you got to do it twice. Today I am actually going to be sculpting an amulet, and I'll be sculpting that. I have my references going, and once my references, these are all my references, I have those going the whole time that I'm sculpting so I don't get thrown off track. I'm using scrap wet clay for this. I'm not even breaking out the good stuff. This is not a sculpting tutorial. This is a tutorial on making a mold with the silicone. But I have to kind of sculpt this to have something to make that mold in. We're about to make the silicone mold. What is important is that you have silicone 1. This is silicone 1. See that where it says silicone number 1 on there? Clear silicone 1. You don't want silicone 2, you want silicone 1. That's what works best. And 100% silicone. I'm going to put it into a bucket with water and Dawn dish soap. Or I'm using off-brand. I'm pretty sure this will work just fine. If you use like a regular size bottle of the dish soap, use about 1/3 of the bottle. I accidentally put my dish soap into my water without hitting record. So pretend you just saw me squirt that much of it into here. It's pretty blue. It's pretty soapy. I think this is a good amount of soapification. I'm going to swap and put my sculpture there. And now I'm just going to put in the silicone. And I'm not going to dump it all in one spot, but I am putting all of this in at once. I'm going to do all this. I'm going around because I want each of those ropes of silicone to get in contact with as much Dawn as possible. Because I'm going to pick that up and mix it with my hands. The soap in the water is a protectant for me. That's going to keep it from sticking to my hands. That is all of the silicone in one tube. And now you can take a look and see what that looks like. It's like the weirdest blue spaghetti ever. And I'm going to start manipulating this. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to work it like it's dough, kind of. but you can see it's not sticking to the sides. I am forming it together. I have a window of time where this is workable like this. It is not going to be workable forever, you know. If you can see right now, I mean, this is already, it's not sticking to me at all. It's a nice pasty ball. It's so good. And I'm going to work it underneath here a little bit. I flatten it out into a sheet, kind of. I just want to get as much of the water and the Dawn touching that as possible. Alexa, countdown. 5 minutes.
5 minutes, starting now.
And I'm going to feel this kind of firm up. This is already way firmer than it is out of the tube. I mean, you guys can tell. And what I'll do is I'll press this on over top of my sculpture, making sure I just press it in to get the detail. This is going to firm up with time. So I'm being careful of time. And I'm just kneading it here inside of the water, inside of the dish detergent. And this will make a okay silicone mold. Will this be amazing? No, it won't be amazing. Will it probably work? Yes. Remember, just use the good stuff. And it feels a little firmer to me now. Now it's not, you know, sinking as it was before. I'm going to spread it out again. I did set a 5-minute timer. This should be ready to separate once it's on the piece, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I might actually do one more tube on this just to get a good thick mold that I can use over and over again. And I'm just kind of squeezing it through my fingers. And I'm allowing it to kind of go through my fingers just like that. And I feel it kind of firming up. Now I think I could make kind of a column out of it and it won't sink too fast. You know, before I would not have been able to do that. And I can feel its tension. I can feel it getting a little more tense. All right, I think this is good now. I feel like I will be able to get detail out of this. Let me put it onto my sculpture. And I'm trying to like squeeze the air out to the very ends so that I don't get any air trapped in there. And again, this is just a water clay sculpture, so if I push too hard, then I'm going to actually change the sculpt. Don't want to do that. I want to squeeze this all the way out to the ends. And I do like how this is firming up. Now everything is covered. I'm going to do one more whole batch. And I can use the same soapy water. I didn't take anything out of the soap. I didn't really change its properties. But I want to thicken up my edges with it. I feel good about the center. I think these are real thin spots on the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and do another batch. My mold is made. I'm going to wait about 30 minutes before I attempt to demold this. This is nice and firm. I feel like it's really set up, so I feel safe to demold. Demolding this shouldn't be tricky because it's made of silicone and soap. So I run my hand around it. Let's flip it over. Oh, I couldn't flip it over. It came out of the mold too easy. All right, so with silicone molds, you can normally save your sculpture. So a little bit of work, that would be just fine. I'm going to set that aside. Look, we have a silicone mold. I am going to pour this up in a resin real fast, just so that you guys can see. The video is for the silicone mold, not for any product I make from it. I am going to hit this with a little bit of release. I'll use Pledge. Anytime I use a spray release, I want to brush it in to make sure that it goes into all of those nooks and crannies. That spray just isn't directed enough to do that very well. Very happy. I can see all my little hammer details in this mold. Let's go get some resin. Moment of truth. Let's see how the silicone mold did. Obviously the demold is not a problem. Oh boy! And we have the amulet that I sculpted. Has a little bit of pitting, but not bad. For something weathered, this will work perfect. Remember, this video is about how to make a mold on the cheap silicone mold on the caulk. This is the finished product of the video. This is what I was teaching you how to do. Okay? We did that. To do that, I happened to make this. This is not necessarily the finished product of the video. The finished product is the mold. Go make stuff! Here we go.